Oops. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation podcast live with me, your host, Owen James, the channel that brings you your team every single day, guys. It is Monday, the 16th of December, just 9 days away from Christmas. It's the morning after yesterday, obviously, where Rangers again failed to beat Celtic, and again, they get a trophy. Now moving ahead of us, 119 now trophies to our 118. It's not great, is it? It's not a great feeling. It's not a good feeling to wake up to. It's not a good realization to, to understand, is it really? It really is something you kind of sit there and you look at it and you think, Jesus, it's not great. It's not great at all. And look, if you just found the channel, please obviously subscribe to the channel. Obviously, we are a free Rangers channel. We will not charge you for the content. We don't hide our content behind any paywalls. That's not the way we work here over at Glasgow Rangers Nation. So please obviously subscribe to the channel. A few comments, people coming in early. One angry Norseman says, can I just say, if someone doesn't go to games doesn't make them any less of a fan. I properly hate that argument. It's such rubbish, and if you make that argument, you are the lowest form of life. Hiring up the SFA, absolutely, Caleb, 100%. Butland was man of the match. For me, wouldn't have made extra time if it wasn't for 4 or 5 unreal saves by Super Jack. We are running a poll for you in the live chat currently. The poll says, who was your man of the match yesterday, or who do you think was the best player for Rangers yesterday? I've stopped short of man of the match because I often think, it's a bit weird to kind of name a man of the match after you've lost. I think I'm still trying to get a sort of a feeling here, who was the best player, do you think, in the game? And at the moment, it's 20% for Raskin, 20% for Diamonde, 20% for Hadji, and 40% for Butland. If you think anybody else stood out, obviously, in yesterday's game, please, obviously, drop me a comment and let me know. I think we've got to start by talking about the biggest issue coming out of yesterday's game, which was the refereeing standards. Again, this is another game where Rangers have been on the end of some slightly questionable refereeing decisions, shall we say. Look, there was a number of decisions that were made in that game yesterday where you can really call into question, the refereeing talent there, the refereeing ability there. I think it's not just the referee. Also, I think you've got to look at the whole situation with the VAR official, Frank Connor, as well, and we'll talk a little bit about him in a minute. There was obviously the lead up to the Kuhn goal. If you watch that back, there was a trip on Diamonde, which wasn't picked up. The Czerny incident, obviously, that wasn't reviewed by VAR and should have been reviewed by VAR. And like I said, this comes on the top of a number of decisions that have gone against Rangers in these big games. Now, they often say, don't they, that decisions even themselves out over time. Well, I don't think decisions are, blaming it out, blaming it over it doesn't even itself out. You can just look back across the old firms there. Meet the Hutchie says Raskin because he got 2 good assists. Fair enough. And the one where a foul was given to Celtic and we didn't get a penalty, wasn't a free kick to them. And we've got an obsessed. Here's an obsessed. Yeah, absolutely, 100% obsessed. Bye-bye. You're obsessed. I've got to say, I am slightly worried about them. I think the Chief Medical Officer of Scotland needs to do a big investigation into the mental health of Celtic fans, because their obsession with Rangers is bordering on being unhealthy. It really is. I can quite categorically say, in all my years supporting Rangers, and it's nearly 40 years now, I've never once watched a Celtic podcast. Never once. Ever watched a Celtic podcast. Never wasted my time watching one. Do you know why? Because I don't like them. Not interested. Don't care what they're thinking. Don't care what they're saying. Don't care what their view is. Genuinely couldn't give a monkeys. So there we go. Anyway, so look, we've got to say, like I said, the standard of refereeing yesterday was pretty poor yet again, and something has to be done. Something really does have to be done about the standard of refereeing. Hey Curry, how you doing, mate? Good to have you here. If you want a bit more on this, we did release a video this morning. There is a video currently out about the big questions when it comes to refereeing. That is currently out, and obviously I discussed it in a bit more depth than I want to do here at this moment in time. But like I said, it is a big issue. It is a big issue, and I think the fact that it was in a massive final like that that game. It's in a final. You cannot have a situation where VAR officials are missing key calls like that in a final. It is just not acceptable. And I think if the shoe had been on the other foot, we'd be hearing the same level of complaining and whining and whinging from Celtic fans as we are doing this morning or this afternoon. And I think, I think, to be honest with you, if it had been the other way round, if it had been Cherney pulling scales on the edge of the area, it would have been given as a penalty to Celtic. I genuinely believe that. 100% believe that. Was the free kick because the tackle or the grab? If they made that clear, we would know if it's a free kick or a pen. The only thing that Meet the Hutchies is not actually the free kick. It's actually a situation where the foul ends. Okay, where the foul ends. So therefore, because it ended with his foot on the line, it should therefore be a penalty kick. That is what the rule states. If you, like I said in the video earlier and in the video this morning, if you go back and you watch the Southampton-Liverpool game from earlier this season, there was an incident exactly the same as that, where Tyler Dibbling, I think the guy's name is brought down by Andy Robertson right on the edge of the box. Now, because Dibbling's foot is on the line, it is given as a penalty because it's on the line, and that's where the foul ended. Go back and watch that. Don't watch him, but the only decent Celtic fan is Ryan118. Used to do the podcast with CJ Novo. I don't mind him, wouldn't watch him. Celtic support in the VAR room, that shouldn't be allowed. We'll get to that. The contact was made inside the box. It was on the line, therefore it could have been two different fouls, is what I mean. It could have been, but I don't think it wasn't given. It was given for the pull. If you look at when the whistle goes, it's given for the pull. It's not given for anything else other than the pull. I believe if you watch the video. So I mean, this is the point that Curry makes here about a Celtic supporter in the VAR room. Frank Connor or Francis Connor or whatever the guy's called, the guy who was in the VAR room on Sunday is a Celtic fan. Now, how do we know that he is a Celtic fan? Well, because of the fact that he is a member of a Celtic supporters club. So he is actually a Celtic supporter. So you've got to ask a question here. How have the SFA allowed a Celtic supporter to be the VAR official? I don't genuinely understand how you can allow a Celtic fan and a clearly defined Celtic fan, because the guy is a member of a Celtic Supporters Association, to be the VAR official in such a huge game. Now, look, I get the argument. But the argument is very much that the vast majority of people in Scotland support Celtic and Rangers. So getting independent refs is allegedly very hard to do, which I understand. But you're telling me that for two finals a year, we cannot find a referee, two referees assistants and a VAR officials that don't support Celtic or Rangers, that aren't Hearts fans or Hibs fans or Inverness Caledonian fans or Dundee United fans. So you're telling me there in Scotland it is impossible to find a ref that doesn't support Rangers or Celtic. Now, if that is the case, that if you genuinely for a final cannot find adequate refs who don't support Celtic and Rangers, then you go south of the border and you get an English ref, or you get a German ref, or you get an Italian or a Spanish or a Dutch or a Belgian referee. You go and you get independent referees. That would take all of this out. This would take all of this decision out. It would take all of the debate out of it. It would take the whole situation where referees are having a fundamental effect on games, which they are. They are 100% having a fundamental effect. And Celtic fans can come in here and call us sore losers, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, if the shoe was on the other foot, they would be making just as much noise about this as we are today. But it was not a Rangers fan with the whistle. It would be hard to find refs in Scotland that don't support Celtic Rangers anywhere around. It'd be to ask English refs to come up. This is what I'm saying. I think this is the way. This is the way forward. It is to find English referees Belgian referees, Dutch referees, German referees, Spanish referees, Italian referees, whoever. But the only issue is, of course, is the SFA will never agree to that. The SFAs will, the SFA ain't going to be great because Celtic have too much power over the SFA. We're all fully aware of that. We're fully aware, of that. 100% aware of the fact that the Scottish FA are controlled to some extent by Celtic. We know that. We know that they referee. They rule in favour of Celtic 99% of the time. We know that. It's a standard fact within Scotland. Hutchies, who is your team? Let me know who you support. A neutral VAR is a must, absolutely, and that's all you want at the end of the day. Is you want a transparency there. That you're going to get an honest, fair game. You're not going to get a situation where you are going to have a game that is big. I mean, let me just put it this way. Yesterday's game was a great game. It was a fantastic football game. It was probably one of the best Old Firms for years. Okay, in terms of Rangers go 1-0 up, Celtic come back 2-1, Rangers fight back to make it 2-2. Celtic then think they won it with 3-2. Danilo scores to make it 3-3. It's probably one of the best football games we have seen, an Old Firm game we have seen in a long, long time. And we've also got a situation where I think it was a decent performance from Rangers overall. And instead of sitting here today talking about the game, talking about the quality of the game, talking about an excellent advert for Scottish football, which it was, apart from that odd decision, we're talking about a referee fucking up again, a referee messing up again, a VAR official messing up again. And again, it's sad that this is what we're talking about, and this is what's coming out of it. If we are going to truly market the Scottish game, and we are truly going to show what a good product we've got in Rangers v Celtic and the Old Firm rivalry, which is a huge product across Europe to market, we've got to take the whole refereeing issues out of this. 100% got to take this out. 100%. I'm not applauding effort. Where was the effort been all season? 2 VAR fuck ups cost us the thing. It is a situation where we have got, I think, it is a sad situation where we are talking about refereeing standards and refereeing decisions effectively deciding a game. And I don't want to sit here the day after another game this season and the issue be what the referee did, what the VAR official did. It should be about what the players on the pitch do. And if a player messes up and someone scores from that mess up, well, that's football, isn't it? If a player comes out with a wonderful moment of skill or goes past 5 players and smashes it in the top corner, then that's what football is. Football shouldn't be down to a referee making a ridiculous decision or not making a decision, as the case may be in this one. And like I said, I would love to hear the audio from the VAR room. I would love to know what was discussed in the VAR room around that issue. Now, as I said on the video earlier, in England, there is a clear transparency when it comes to the PGMOL in terms of audio and the use of audio and the free and the Sky. There's been Sky and TNT being the 2 chief broadcasters having access to the audio. Why is it in Scotland that it's so top secret that we can't hear this? That it's so, it's so cloak and dagger. What? And it just again begs the question: what have they got to hide? If there is nothing to hide, if they are doing nothing wrong, why are we having a situation where they won't release VAR audio, or they're very reticent to release VAR audio? I don't understand why there is this block to this audio. If you have, like I said, if you've got nothing to hide, you're doing nothing wrong, then you're quite willing to put it out there and say, look, this is what happens. This is what we discussed. And this is why the decision was made. Yes, we made a mistake, or no, we stick by a decision. That's what we need to hear at the end of the day. And Willie Collum has got to come out and put the audio out there, talk about the audio, talk about what happened, and give his opinion on it. He is the chief of referees, whether you like Willie Collum, whether you hate Willie Collum, whether you think he's a Celtic fan, think he's not, whatever. He's now got to come out and take a leadership role in this. He is the head of the Referees Association. He is the chief refereeing supremo for Scotland. He's got to push a lead on this. If he doesn't, then at the end of the day, you've got to call into question his ability to do his job. It reminds me of the incident from the Old Firm at Parkhead this time last year. Can't remember the incident, but it was a proper fuck up. Mate, there's the Seamer handball. There was the handball by Johnston when he punches it away from Seamer. There was the Morelos goal that was disallowed. There was the O'Reilly dive for a penalty. There's a multiple incidents, mate, multiple incidents. And not only that, in that game there, Scott, you've got a situation in that game where 4 Celtic players are on yellow cards. They then go on to commit multiple fouls afterwards and don't get another yellow card. Now, for me, that is a disgrace. Again, it shows a natural level of incompetence in refereeing. They're fucking shitting themselves, Owen, and yesterday's pathetic decision proves it. And I mean, that is obviously the thing that has been discussed today, is there a fear from referees and VAR officials as to what will happen if they give a decision against Celtic? We've seen in the past that, referees have been threatened, their families have been threatened by Celtic fans. And I genuinely believe that the Celtic board have kind of fed that fire with this constant diatribe they come out with. Now, Rangers have, on the whole, kind of maintained what you would call a diplomatic silence, have kind of said nothing on this incident. And Heart and Hand were absolutely spot on with what they tweeted out earlier today. Heart and Hand said this. They said that basically, let me find the comment. Finally, yet another game where a major decision goes against us. This is what dignified silence gets you until club pushes back against this. It's not going to change. And this is right. Rangers need to basically push back against this. They need to start kicking off a fuss. And I don't want to say this, but they need to behave a bit more like Celtic. They need to start pushing back against this bad decisions, pushing back against this absolute fuck up constantly from referees and VAR. They need to not sit there and take the moral high ground and say, we're not going to say anything. We're going to be just very quiet on this, and we're going to let everyone else rage over it, and we're going to look like the big men in this. That's not going to happen, and nothing is going to change until the SFA start getting the same level of pressure and hassle from us that they get. I mean, Celtic are past masters at intimidating referees. You look at the fact the board constantly comment on it. Brendan Rodgers constantly comments on it. Callum McGregor is constantly in the referee's face and in the referee's ear on a game day, causing as much trouble as he can and trying to influence the game. We need to do the same. And I don't like that, but unfortunately they are the dark arts, to quote the quote about Arsenal, they are the dark arts that we should be using to help us to win games, I believe. Caleb says, Clement got it right yesterday, constantly attacking them. Players were burnt out, left nothing out there, so I'm proud of the boys. I mean, we've got to say, overall, it was an improved performance. There was nothing in essence wrong with the performance. It was just the end result that we could not finish that off. You look at the situation out there, and you look at the whole, you look at the whole situation out there, and you look at the situation where, what can I say again? We just couldn't obviously avoid the defensive errors. We couldn't avoid the stupid mistakes. We couldn't take advantage of some chances that we had. And again, it's these little things that are costing us in these games. And it's these little things that we need to iron out going forward. I mean, like I said, you look at the 4-on-1 yesterday, absolutely unforgivable that we don't finish that 4-on-1. I can't remember who it was now running through, but there was 4 Rangers players through on 1 Celtic player, and we somehow managed to fuck it up. We somehow managed to mess it up. If we play that right and we score that second goal with 2-0 up going into half time. And I don't think that Celtic come back from that. I really don't. So for me, there is a lot of things that obviously still are there to improve. We do need to be more clinical. Absolutely. We do need to be more clinical. But by that token of that, that's something we do need to work on. And look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to you that yesterday's performance was perfect, because it quite clearly wasn't perfect. If it had been perfect, we would have won the game. Yes, there was a lot of things that were good in yesterday's game, don't get me wrong, and I'm not going to sit here and just slag Rangers off because they played well, they tried hard, they worked hard, but they still, managed to mess up. They still managed not to get this over the line. And that is the big thing we've now got to move for, is actually getting these results over the line. You can't just play well and go, oh, well, we had a good go, but we still didn't win the game. It's about pushing it over the line. And that's the big thing for me. Transparency is a must too. A private VAR room is suspect as, yeah, absolutely. This is what I'm saying. If you have nothing to hide, if there is genuinely nothing for you to hide, then why are you not releasing VAR audio? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not allowing the TV companies or whoever to access that VAR audio to hear what was discussed? And, for someone like Willie Collum or someone in the VAR room to come out and actually explain their decisions. That's what we need to do. And it needs to be done. It can't be a situation where that maintains that silence. Scott says the final third decision making, a bit of tiredness later didn't help. I agree with that. We'll come to that in a minute. I'll also say there's too many keyboard warrior Fenian bastards on the Rangers channel who cannot back their comments up in the street. Agreed. Good afternoon, Stephen. How you doing? Yeah, 100%, mate. Clear signs of improvement. Just need to get the little mistakes out of our game, and then we'll be a good squad with Clement's new tactics. I mean, this is the 4v1 that I'm referring to. I mean, it's unforgivable that we don't put... I mean, any sort of correct ball there, and you've got two players on the left-hand side there, clean through on goal, and they probably go on to finish. I mean, so for me there yesterday, we've got just some bad decision-making, some awful decision-making there that leads to us not getting the goal. Now, there's nothing there that would... the right ball played there, and you've got two players on the left-hand side of the pitch to the left of the Celtic player there, who I think is Diamonde and Tierney, and they're going to go on and score. They score, and I think that makes it 2-0. So, look, at that point, the game is over. The game is definitely over. The VAR room is in the Celtic supporters come from the broom cupboard, lol. Why? They do that every month on the SFAU show called VAR Review Show. Well, hopefully, we hear some explanation of this decision then. We must do that. We must hear some explanation of that decision. But like I said, it's not just down to that decision that we lost that game yesterday. The reason we ended up losing the game was obviously we missed a penalty, but taking it back into the actual game itself, we didn't take advantage of situations like this. At least two of the three Celtic goals were entirely avoidable for me. There was a chance to stop at least two out of their three goals, and both at least two of those three goals were down to some appalling defending. So look, I'm not going to sit here and just blame the referee. Of course, I'm not. It's not just the referee; it's also the players, and the players have something to carry there. Absolutely. Butland saved us a lot. He couldn't. There's nothing you do about the goals, Caleb. I'm talking more about about Balogun, and I love Big Leon and Proper. Getting run past and mistakes from Raskin, and I think it was Raskin and Balogun make a mistake. I think it was those two that made a mistake for the first goal. So there is mistakes there that lead to goals, and I thought Proper was fairly poor yesterday as well. Look, let's have a quick check of the poll, how the poll is currently going. We've obviously got a poll running at the moment. Who do you think was the best Rangers player yesterday? At the moment, as it stands, let's have a little look, shall we? It is 51% of you think Nicholas Raskin was, 8% of you think that Diamonde was, 15% say Hadji, 26% of you say Jack Butland. Michelle, hey Michelle, how are you? Good to have you back. Is it not legally that they have to release the VAR audio and who owns car? Hopefully they do release it. Sports Scene last night highlighted by Rangers players didn't protest for a penalty review. I think that's a good point, Jan Parker Douglas. A really good point. I think, going back to that incident, why are Rangers players not getting up in referees' face? This goes back to what I was saying about Callum McGregor. Put it this way, if that had been the other way round, if that had been Tierney pulling down Scales on the edge of the area, very unlikely, I know, but let's say it was, you can guarantee that Callum McGregor would have been in the ref's face straight away. Ref, that's a penalty. Ref, that needs to be looked at. Ref, go to VAR. Ref, that's a pen. Ref, that's a foul. Ref, you've got to look at that. It would have been straight in his face, and something probably would have been done as a result of that. So for me, again, Rangers players did miss an opportunity there. They didn't get in the ref's face. They didn't get in and kick up a stink. They need to start doing that. If they're going to be successful, if they're going to win, to win games, if they're going to, get refereeing decisions to go their way in games like this, then they definitely do need to obviously make those decisions. They do need to influence referees. And look, I don't like that as a football fan, but unfortunately, that's the way it has to be. Scott B says that chance 4v1 was easier than a pen. Absolutely. I mean, Scott, if you look at that, it's unforgivable that we didn't convert that chance. It really is. It's the 51st minute of the game. I think it's still, at that point, it's still 1-0 to us. Realistically, I think, it is 1-0 to us. I think, realistically, if we convert that, then it's game over at 2-0. I don't see them coming back. I genuinely don't see. I think the heads drop at that point and it's game over. And I agree with you, Scott. It's easier to score that than to miss it. And somehow we contrive through the playing of the wrong ball to absolutely balls it up. And yeah, I agree. That is an awful miss. And it's, like I said, it's not just about the Tierney decision yesterday. It's also about us making bad decisions at the wrong time. Ewan, how you doing? Hi, Owen and all the Bears. Barrett, what about the foul on Dio? Yeah, and that was another one I've mentioned, Michael, he was better. Hadji was better than McGregor yesterday. McGregor was anonymous yesterday. So, shut your face. Hadji is a better player than McGregor. Hadji has done it at the Euros, against Holland, against top teams in the European Championships, against top teams in European football. What's Callum McGregor ever done in Europe? What's he done at the Euros? Nothing. So, I'm sorry, Michael. Callum McGregor is shit. Callum McGregor would not get a game in the English Championship. Callum McGregor wouldn't get a game for any of the 20 English Premier League clubs. He would not get a game in the English Championship. He might get a game in League One because that's his standard, mate. He's the most overrated flat track bully in Scotland. He's one of the worst players in Scotland. He's absolute tosh, mate. That wasn't the comment though, was it, mate? What's that? Michael, what has Callum McGregor done in Europe and on the international stage? What has he done? Hadji, been one of the best players at the Euros, has done it in Europe, against Braga. What's he done, mate? What's he done? McGregor did nothing yesterday. He was anonymous yesterday, mate. Absolutely anonymous. What's McGregor won on the international stage? What's McGregor achieved in international football? Absolutely nothing. And like I said, Michael, and you just can't take it, Callum McGregor wouldn't get a game in the English Premier League, wouldn't get a game in the League One. If he's such a fantastic player, where's all the multi-million pound bids for him from Premier League clubs? I'm sure we turned down a bid from Aston Villa for Hadji. So where's the bids for McGregor? Fuck off. McGregor has more caps than Hadji. Yeah, but McGregor plays for Scotland, Hadji plays for Romania. Different country. And it's not about how many caps you've got, mate. It's about how you performed. Mate, you are an absolute fucking prick. And you are now banned because you are a dirty Tim. Get back to your sister, who's also your wife. Bye-bye. I know we got another one there. Bye-bye. It's hilarious, isn't it? All these Celtic fans that keep coming in. It's ridiculous. Right, anyway, getting back to the points yesterday. So, look, I think overall it was an improved performance. And we've got to try and, I think, we can sit here and we can slag off Clermont. We can slag off the fact we didn't win. But it's not going to change anything. We're not going to be able to go back. We're not going to be able to undo it. It's done. It's dusted. It happened, okay? Now, whether you're Clermont in or you're Clermont out doesn't matter at this stage, okay? The guy isn't going anywhere. He isn't going anywhere. I honestly believe that that Clermont is here to the end of the season. I genuinely believe that Clermont is here to the end of the season, no matter what happens now. So we've just kind of got to suck it up and get on with it. Like I said, if you're a Clermont in, brilliant. I'm glad you backed the manager. If you're a Clermont out, great. That's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. And like I said, it's a free world out there, guys. Please, obviously, make your opinions known and we'll discuss those opinions. But Clermont, I think, will stay to the end of the season. I don't think there's any appetite within the board to sack him at this point. I think the fact that we've seen improvements in performance and we've seen movements forward in terms of the team, I think he will survive. I do think he will survive. Geordie says, team played out of their skin yesterday. Yes, it hurts to go out the way we did, but pens are tissue of the coin. What we've got to remember is we are seeing progression. I think that's a big one, isn't it? The progression. Right, I want to go through the players. I want to have a look at sort of trying to review the players now and look at the players from yesterday. Get your take on it. Get your views on our team yesterday. Get some reviews of some of the players and get you to help me with our. It was toss of the coin. Yeah, toss of the coin. Yeah, absolutely. Of course, penalties is a lottery. Penalties is an absolute lottery. And I think one of the points we do need to raise in penalties yesterday is why is a striker not taking a penalty? Why is Cyril Dessers not taking a penalty? I don't get that. I don't understand why a number 9 is not taking a penalty. Why? I don't understand it. Please, if someone can explain it to me. Now, like I said, I don't know. How it was decided, but I can just go off what I've read in terms of what other managers have said, in terms of what other players have said about penalty shootouts. And it's very much a case of who fancies one, who wants to take it, who fancies one. And that's the way it is. If we get 2 out, 2 or 3 out, we're looking okay. To be honest, while I'm disappointed, I'm okay. I mean, I think this is talking about obviously the end of the season. We are going to look more in tonight's podcast about what the future holds, about what we need to do in January, about how we need to improve this squad. We are going to do that tonight, guys. So please come and join me tonight for the pod to do that. Right, let's go through and review the team. So let's start off with our goalkeeper, Jack Butland. Right, what is your rating for Jack Butland? What are you giving Jack Butland out of 10? What is your mark for Super Jack? Let me know in the comments. Scott says agreed progression is there. A little frustrating yesterday, but we'll get there. I think this is the point, this is the point. Stuzo says Dessers never took a penalty as he's probably been told he's moving on. Well, let's hope he is moving on, mate. I really do hope we are moving Dessers on in January because he needs to go. The guy's not fit to play for Rangers. He really isn't. Right, Jack Butland yesterday. Right, I'm going to give Jack Butland 8 out of 10. Butland 8 out of 10 because I thought he pulled off some very good saves. He kept us in the game at times. He had the bottle to take a penalty. For me, Jack Butland, 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10, okay? So what do you think? Let me know your comments. We've got a comment here. It says, one of my friends is a Tim. I need to look at my friends list. And even he said we deserved that win and was gutted with us going out like that. Butland a 6. He gives me the fear with the ball at his feet. What's the point buying anyone in January when the season's over? To build for next season, mate. Unfortunately, that's going to be... And also to try and win the Scottish Cup and do well in the Europa League. 8 seems fair. Yeah, I mean, he pulled off some good saves. He had the bottle to take a penalty. Absolutely not. Right, Red Glen Productions. Let's have a little look at this comment, okay? How can you make the claim that Glasgow is blue if Rangers are no longer the most successful team in the city, never mind the country? It's arrogance, exceptionalism, that will always be your undoing. Because, Red Glen, you've got, as I'm a Rangers fan, so therefore I'm going to say that, aren't I? And that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. Just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean it's not worth talking about. Also, if you go and watch, for example, Mark Goldbridge yesterday, he says that Manchester is red, even though quite clearly Manchester City have dominated English football. So, mate, seriously, irrelevant point. Absolutely irrelevant point. This is a great point here. Suter was sorely missed. Jan Parker Douglas, great point. Great point. Yes, Suter, I think, was massively missed yesterday. Right, let's get the back four. The back four yesterday. Right, let's start off with James Tavernier. James Tavernier. Look, Tav, I think there was a lot of us, including myself, who were exceptionally worried about Tav playing against Celtic yesterday. I think there was a lot of us who kind of sat there and thought, shit, Tav against Maida. Maida's going to rip him a new one. Not great, is it? It's a worry. It's a huge, huge worry. So for me, Tav did well yesterday. I thought he played well yesterday. I don't think Maida was massively influential in the game. I thought Tav had quite a decent game yesterday. So I'm going to give Tav a 7 out of 10. So for me, Tav, 7 out of 10 yesterday. Guys, let me know your results. And look, I've slaughtered Tav over the last few weeks, as you all know. But I honestly think that he did okay yesterday. He really did do okay yesterday. For me, not an issue at all with James Tavernier yesterday. Thought he did okay. So I'm going to go for a 7 for Tav. I thought he was probably our best defender yesterday, if I'm being honest. Out of all the players, out of all 4 of them, he was probably our best defender yesterday. So I'm going to give Tav a 7 from yesterday, okay? What's your grades for Tav? Let me know your grade for Tav. Let's have a look. Stuzo says, a wee bit more composure in front of goal. We would have scored at least 2. I mean, this is the thing, mate, as I was just saying, 6.9 says Baghead. 7.5 says Scott. Stuzo says Tav 7, Balogun 6, Proper 6, Hiefte 7. Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. So 7 for Tav. Balogun, he made one very good tackle in the first half. I can't remember who it was on. Was it on Maida or Kyogo or someone? Made a really, really good tackle. I thought he got caught out of position a couple of times. I don't think he was his usual ability, his usual talent. So I'm going to go for 6 for Balogun. I think Balogun gets 6 for yesterday's performance. I think some of that perhaps is down to the fact that, to be honest with you, that I think that he was being saved for this game at the weekend. And I don't think that the manager really wanted to play him Thursday, but with Suter going off injured on Thursday, I think he didn't obviously have a choice. So, I don't think he was great. In hindsight, do you think Phil would have rested players for the cup final on Thursday, or did we need Thursday's performance to play well yesterday? I think we needed the performance. I think we did need the performance on Thursday to raise our morale for this game and to show that we could do it against Celtic, if I'm being honest, CJ. 6 for Balogun, says Jess. If the standard is Tav doesn't get done by Maida, then he did okay. Other than that, I thought Tav made a number of poor decisions, attacking-wise. Fair enough, mate. Hefte struggled a bit in the second half when they got 2 goals, but I'd say 7, says A. We played well in the Scottish Cup final also. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Clement still needs sacked, says A. Proper, I'm going to give Proper 5. I thought Proper was poor yesterday. Again, caught out of position, wanted too much time on the ball, got played in behind a number of times, did not look great at all. And look, I'll be honest with you, I don't see Proper as having a future in Scottish football. I really don't. So I'm going to go 5 for Proper. Scott says Balogun and Proper 6.5. Fair enough, mate. Hiefte, what's his score for Hiefte? I thought Hiefte wasn't great yesterday, if I'm being, been honest with you. Didn't think Hiefte played particularly well yesterday, so I'm going to go 6 for Hiefte yesterday. 6 out of 10 for Hiefte yesterday. Peter C said, I know he had the bottle to take a penalty. I think Jack Butland cost us the cup. Just throwing yourself down in a penalty shootout was a great tactical decision. Proper poor first half, better the second in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, say that, but I still think that I don't rate the guy. I think he struggles in domestic football. I really do. Right, let's move it along a little bit. Let's talk about the next players. Let's talk about these 3 individuals. Where are they? So what to talk about next? Dio, Raskin, and Hadji. What are your scores for Dio, Raskin, and Hadji? I thought Dio did well yesterday. I thought Dio, to be honest with you, I think Dio and Raskin are coming together in a very decent partnership, which of course does raise the question of what's the future hold for, for in terms of actually playing, playing Baron. If this is the future, is it just a case that that Baron, is only used in away games, or when we need to be more defensive? I don't know, but I think that Dio and Raskin are forming a nice little partnership there. They really genuinely are. So I was quite impressed with Dio and Raskin, really was. Your scores coming through here: Raskin 7, Dio 8, Hadji 7. Scott says Dio 8, Raskin 7.5, Hadji 7. Dio 8, Raskin 8, Hadji 7, says Jess. Michelle says 8, 9, 8. Dio did so well. The guy has some energy. He did do really well. Scott was man of the match, was Dio. We've got straight 8s from Geordie. I'm going to go with 8 for Dio, 8 for Raskin, and 7 for Hadji, in my opinion. I think Hadji could have done a little better. Didn't influence the game as much as I would have wanted him to, but still played well and still outplayed Callum McGregor. So I'm going to go 8, 8, 7 for those 3. That is my grading for those 3. Right, moving on to the forward players now. Chinny, Hamza, and Bajrami. What are your scores for those guys? Peter C says here, we've got comments here. Peter C says Dio 7, Raskin 6, Hadji 7. Acoustic goes 8, 9, 8. Yeah, absolutely. We had kind of discussed that link 46. Yeah, it could have done massively, hugely. I think there is still massive improvement in D. I think that, yeah, I do too, mate, Stuzo. I think there's still a huge improvement to be made there. I think they can move forward. I really do. Bluebell says, Raskin was a solid 8 for me. Best player on the pitch, both teams. He was absolutely class again. And yet he made a mistake. But, you know, everyone makes mistakes. Zinedine Zidane made mistakes. Vinicius Jr. makes mistakes. Jude Bellingham makes mistakes. All players make mistakes. But yeah, I thought Raskin tackled well. His recoveries were good. His passing was good. He did have a good game yesterday. I agree. So for these three here, Michelle's going 7 for Czerny, 8 for Hamza, 6 for Bayrami. 6 Czerny, 6 Igman, 6.5 Bayrami. Says Scott, I wasn't very impressed with Czerny yesterday. I think he could have done a lot more. I think he could have influenced the game a lot more. He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't great. So I'm going to go 6 for Czerny from me. So Czerny gets a 6 from me. Hamza, I'm going to give Hamza a 6. I don't think he influenced the game as much as we may have wanted him to. So I'm going to go 6 for Hamza. I'm also going to go 6 for Bayrami as well. I wasn't overly impressed with Bayrami, if I'm being honest with you. I think at times he looks a bit lazy. Geordie says 7 for Czerny, 8 for Igman, 7 for Bayrami. There's my scores: 6, 6, 6, treble 6, sign of the devil. Igman was clearly tired. I think he was tired. I think, obviously playing all those games, it catches up on you, doesn't it? So, yeah, I think there could have been an element of that. Loop says Czerny 6, Bayrami 8, Hamza 7. And we're seeing, aren't we, in these scores here, a difference in opinion, and that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. It really genuinely is. So they're the scores that are going on there. What else we got? Peter C says Czerny 8, Bayrami 8, Igman 9, despite wrong move when we were 1-0 up. Result was 3-3. Some of the scores on here, you think Rangers won 4-0. Says A. But like I said, that's why I've gone treble 6. I think they could have all done a little bit better on that thing. Igman's plateau is through the roof. We are getting him young. I think, yeah, Geordie, I think that's a brilliant point. I think Igman can only get better and become a better player. Absolutely agree with that one. Imagine Suter was playing. We would have definitely won that best. Chris, I've got to say, I think John Suter was a huge miss yesterday. I think if Suter starts, if Suter's fit, I think he does make a big difference. I think we avoid at least one of those goals that we can see if Suter plays. I know Suter makes mistakes. I know that he's not perfect, but he's still probably one of the best. He's probably the best defender in the squad. So yeah, I agree. I think not having John Suter is a huge loss, and I think people underestimate the impact that Suter has on this team. He's a very good footballer. He is a very good footballer. So yeah, I do agree with you there. There is a bit of loss there in that. Right, let's go to the subs. Ridvan, Danny, and Sterling. I'm going to give Ridvan 6. I don't think he actually did a great deal in the game. I'm not giving him that because he missed a penalty, because I applaud him for having the bottle. What allocation Celtic got, I don't know yet. I'll have to find that out, mate. We missed Suter. If we play that at Ibrox, I think we could beat them. I agree with Suter back. I think there was every chance. Ridvan 6. Danny, I'm going to give a 7. He got the goal. He played well when he came on. I'm giving a 7 to Danny. Sterling, I'm going to give a 6. Didn't do a great deal in the game, so a 6 for Sterling. So 6, 7, 6 for me in that. Should have at least given Cortez a run out. I don't care if he's 80% fit. He's fit to play 30 minutes to get him on. That's an interesting shout there. Raskin 6, Danny 7, Sterling 7, says Stuzo. I mean, Danny was brilliant, wasn't he? I mean, the way he comes on, he scores a goal, he does exactly what's asked of him, and he comes off the bench and makes an impact. And that, for me, is fantastic. It really is. No allocation, 2nd of January. There we go. There's no allocation. I think because they didn't give us one. There we go. Hopefully, we get over this childish behaviour, Scott, in time for the Old Firm game at Parkhead, and they actually give us an allocation. Stop with their pathetic childlike behaviour. We all know that Celtic's refusal is nothing to do with safety or security, and everything to do with the fact they want the whole Broom loan, and we're not going to give it them. So that's what they're doing. That's why they're being like they are, because they can't get what they want. They are truly pathetic. Right, okay. Kieran Dowell, Connor Barron, and Cyril Dessers. Right, I've got a question for you. And this is a genuine question. Can somebody please explain to me what is the point of Kieran Dowell? What does Kieran Dowell actually contribute to this team? Where is his best position and what does he contribute? Because for me, Kieran Dowell contributes absolutely nothing. And bringing Kieran Dowell on just shows you that we are still way short in midfield, that we are lacking midfield options. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I would have rather have seen Finley Curtis come on. I mean, I know these players weren't on the bench before anyone gets my back about this. Bailey Rice, Cole McKinnon, Paul Uncio, any of those players I would much rather see come on than Kieran Dowell. Kieran Dowell contributes nothing, genuinely nothing. I'm going to give Dowell a 1 because he didn't do anything. He genuinely didn't. I think he misplaced one pass. Yeah, I did too, I thought he was being brought on to take a penalty, but if that's not the case, why are we bringing him on? That's a good point. Connor Barron, 5 was average, did okay, didn't really do anything. Dessers, I am giving none, 0 to. Dessers, 0. Absolute big fat lonely 0. He contributed absolutely nothing other than booking when he came onto the pitch. I don't know about you, but he looked moody. He looked angry at not being left out, but he just didn't influence the game at all when he comes out. And then for him not to have the bottle, to put his hand up to take a penalty, for me is an absolute disgrace. It really genuinely is. And he should be embarrassed at that. Dessers has to go. Dessers has to go in January. Of course he does. Dessers, I've said for months, get rid, says Michelle, very sensible woman. Dowell instead of McCausland as well. We're considering we're taking about the right. Absolutely, why not bring McCausland on instead? I mean, he would have had more of a go, I think. Matondo also and Lawrence have 6 months left. Scott, we're going to talk about that tonight. The players have only got some limited times left on their contracts. Dessers has to go, says Chris Brown. He does. He's done for me. He's done at this club. And I think yesterday just showed to me that he is all about himself, that he doesn't care about the team. You know, he can stand and he can profess his love for Rangers as much as he wants. But, you know, yesterday showed that he is very much a me guy. He would have took a penalty if we were 3-0 up in the game. Of course he would have done. Of course he would. Dessers does it when Dessers wants to. Dessers scores goals when it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, the 2 against Killy, I think it was. The game was over. They were dejected. They were finished. They weren't even trying anymore. He scores 2 goals, and that's when Dessers scores. 3 of them on too late to make an impression. However, why didn't Dessers take a penalty? It's a -9. I agree. Your striker should be taking a penalty. You know, your striker is there to score goals, right? And your striker is supposed to thrive on one-on-one situations with the goalkeeper. So why, when you've got a penalty, are you not taking it? Now, Dessers has taken penalties in the past for Rangers. I think it was last season. Was it Morton or Livingston in the cup, in the League Cup? Tavernier wasn't playing. Dessers, we got a penalty. Dessers took the penalty. Again, I don't know. If we can sell Dessers in January, get him out. Agreed. Barron 4, Dessers 3, says Scott. Scott giving a very generous 3 to Cyril Dessers there. Quick check up on the man of the match poll, or the player of the game poll. 51% of you are saying Raskin, 12% are saying Dio, 16% saying Hadji, and 22% saying Butland. Good shout. The improvement of the whole squad when Igman and Danilo became available shows how much Dessers has held us back. CJ, I think that's a great point, mate. You know, second half against Dundee United, we bring on Hamza, we bring on Danny, and we've never looked back since, have we? We've looked so much better going forward when we've got those 2 players. And why do we look better? Well, they're not static. Their movement is good. They can stay on side. They can hold a ball up. They can link play. They do everything that Dessers doesn't do. And now they've both started scoring goals. Why do we need Cyril Dessers? We don't. Yeah, absolutely, Geordie. I do too. I mean, it takes an awful lot of... But I will never criticise someone for missing a penalty unless they, take a really shit penalty and they roll it back to the goalkeeper in the middle of the goal. Then I'll criticise them. But on the whole, I'm not going to criticise someone who misses a penalty because it takes a lot of bottle, mate, to stand up and take a penalty. It really does. And as I said yesterday, yes, I have taken a penalty in a game. Not a game of this magnitude, not a professional game, but just speaking, from the fact of taking a penalty. When you run up to take a penalty, I'll tell you this, it feels like the goal shrinks. It really does. And you've got Goliath in the goal. He should never play for us again after he ran down the tunnel a few weeks ago, says A. I got to go. Just remember, guys, we're improving. Never give up. Great pod, Owen. Cheers. No worries, Stuzo. We're going soon as well. Look, overall, I think, to bring this together, the final sort of judgment on the game yesterday, we saw an improvement. We saw a step forward. And we've got to be grateful for that. There's literally no point sitting here and slagging the team off and slagging the players off and slagging the manager off because I'll be honest with you, the majority of these players are going to be here now to the end of this season. The manager is going to be here to the... I mean, Okay, I'll rephrase that. Barring us losing every game between now and the 3rd of January, the day after the Celtic game, Clement will be here till the end of the season. I'm 100% convinced of that, okay, that he's not going to get sacked this season, and they will give him at least this season. And you've only got to listen to the noises the board are making to kind of pick up that that's the way they're going to go. Yeah, 100%. Owen, just look at the players who stepped up to take a penny yesterday, so Dessus can fuck off now. They chase the ball, he's lazy, waits for the ball at his feet, yet still misses 8 out of 10. Dessus the dud. I agree, he doesn't do enough work for me. Come on, Owen, answer the question. Are you going for the Santa job? Why? Because of the beard, mate? No, and the fat belly. I've actually given up drinking, Peter. If not, it's not like River Advan's penalty was bad. It was a good penalty, but everyone has to remember you're talking about an international keeper who still plays international football. I was so proud of them yesterday. Best old firm I've seen in ages. And this is what I said at the start, about that game yesterday. Instead of talking about the best old firm in years, we're talking about penalty decisions and VAR decisions and bad refereeing, and it's wrong. Not enough Clement's tactics was something out of the Stone Age. Rodgers won't get caught out again, says A. I think and I'll be honest with all of you, I think the 2nd of January is a big turning point. I think if we were to lose at home to Celtic on the 2nd of January, or even if we draw on the 2nd of January, I think there will be a very much a more of a majority moving back to the Clement outside. I do believe that. Michelle says, that poor Hadji boy has played B team and still wants to do us proud. Yeah, I've got to say, I big plaudits for Hadji. The guy showed the first class attitude all season, and when he wasn't getting the team, he still showed the right attitude, didn't he? Totally agree with Clement's comments, says Peter C. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty much spot on. Hadji getting Casper was full shithousery, and I love it. Yeah, it was hilarious, wasn't it, how he went back at him after he'd gone at him. Right, guys, that is it. Thank you for watching our afternoon live today. It's been a pleasure speaking to you as always here on the channel. We'll be back later with the evening podcast, so please come and join us for that. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. If you can smash the like, smash the sub, do all that fabulous stuff, it would be amazing. And always remember, please never forget, we are the people.